Welcome. I'm Carol, and I am the Non-Traditional GM. I love role-playing games. I was first introduced to role-playing games in 1980 at summer camp when I was 12 years old, and they have been a constant companion for me ever since. So I'm so excited to start this channel. What makes me a non-traditional GM? Well, I am ostensibly female, although I'm actually a trans man. So there's two reasons right there, or perhaps one, depending on how you want to count it. I'm also over 50. Now, you're not going to find a whole lot of female GMs over 50, although I am thrilled to see that we're getting more and more of female GMs in the community. So what I want this channel to do, in addition to regular role-playing advice, like how to run a better game and how to keep players at your table and how to deal with problem players and how to write adventures and how to write campaigns, I also want to cover the controversies of role-playing. I want to cover the problems women, particularly trans women, have at the table. I want to cover why there aren't more people of color in our games and at our tables, and why there should be. I want to cover a variety of things that are problems within our community, and that hopefully by bringing them to light, we can work together, help make them better, or to solve them. But, you know, it's not like I'm the first person to ever talk about these things. That's not the case, nor would. But we need to talk about them, and they're not getting talked about. These are social games, and we're social beings, and we need to work these things out. So by bringing these issues to light and hoping to find suggestions or ideas of a way forward, because really that's all I can do to somebody else is just suggestions. So it's all going to all be suggestions. Now, I know it's traditional at the start of a new role-playing channel for people to do a, hi, this is what role-playing is video. I'm not going to do that video. I'm not going to do that video because everybody does that video. And I figure if you're here, you already know what a role-playing game is, or you wouldn't be here in the first place. If you don't know what a role-playing game is, check the description below. I'll have some links to other channels that explain it really well. No, what I'm going to cover in this episode is 4 steps to explain role-playing games to somebody else. Because at some point in your career, if it hasn't happened already, it will. Somebody is going to ask you, so what is this role-playing thing you do? And I've got 4 steps to help you explain it. Step number 1, explain to people it's a game, because it doesn't have the usual trappings of a game that people recognize. The fact that it is a game seems to slip by them somehow. So the first thing we need to do is to remind people this is a game. They're likely to be confused by the fact nobody seems to win. Explain to them that it's a cooperative thing, that you work with your GM and the other players to basically tell a story. 2, they're going to ask you why you play. Someone at some point is going to ask why you do this. Stress that these games are fun. That's the whole reason we do them. And if the person you're explaining to has been around you for a while, you may get some pushback on that. You say, well, last week you came home angry about something that had happened in the game. Is that fun? And you can say yes. And that ups and downs are part of the game, just like in a board game where, you know, you're playing and you get a bad throw of the dice and you have to go back to the beginning or whatever. It's part of the game. Ups and downs are part of any game. And during that time, you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, you're going to be mad, you're going to be ecstatic, going to be thrilled, hopefully at least if you have it. 3, let them know that there's a game out there for everybody. A lot of people think D&D is all there is. Fantasy is all there is to role-playing games. And you may actually need to explain to them that no, there are science fiction games like Traveler and Firefly based on the popular TV show. Are they history buffs? We have Boot Hill for Westerns. We have Ars Magica for the Middle Ages. We have Keen for Chinese history and Legend of the Five Rings for Japanese history. Do they like games like Call of Duty? Then we have Modern Warfare and Fist. If they like steampunk, you can show them Castle Falkenstein or Space 1889. In Cyberpunk 2077, the big computer game everybody's waiting for. Well, in the meantime, they can play Cyberpunk Red or Cyber Generation or Carbon 2185. If horror's their thing, there's Call of Cthulhu in its various incarnations and Chill. If they're wanting a game to play with their kids, there's Hero Kids and My Little Pony. Yes, there is a role-playing game for My Little Ponies. There are even Christian-focused role-playing games, such as Holy Lands and Testament. I will have links for all of these games down in the description below. And 4. And this is a big one that will help allay a lot of people's concerns about role-playing games. Invite them to watch, or if you're uncomfortable with them watching your game, then send them to one of the many games that are streaming online, such as, of course, the most famous Critical Role. There are other streaming games. If you don't like D&D, I suggest Relics and Reliquaries. Check it out. It's definitely worth the look. You can also point them toward Geek and Sundry's Starter Kit series, where they take a game from the big and teach people how to play. So that's a really good one. And also, you can point them to Encounter Roleplay, which professionally produces many different role-playing systems. Finally, one of the best descriptions of RPGs is a one-sheet PDF titled, What is a Role-Playing Game? Epijai Ravidal, who wrote this, has actually made it into a brief game. What is a role-playing game is actually a role-playing game. And again, I'll have links to this down below, but if you format it right, they tell me you can fit it on a double full business card. So you can pass it out to people at an event, or just if you carry several with you. And so 4 steps to explaining role-playing games to people who have never played. I hope this helps. And remember, no adventure ever survives contact with the players.